Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Guerrilla Cricket.
My guest today for our tea time session is Katy Cooper. Katy is a trustee of the Sussex Cricket Foundation. She's also a health and well-being promoter, and she's here to chat to me and to all of us about an initiative, or a couple of initiatives, one of which is called T4-2, which is a very exciting and valuable way to really help and alleviate child hunger, which you may be surprised at the extent of which does exist in the UK. So Katy, a very warm welcome to Guerrilla Cricket.
Thank you very much, it's good to be here.
And it's also a bit of a welcome back, isn't it? Because you have your links back to the days of the sofa, and you're not unknown to us, are you?
Indeed, the days of the sofa. I know Jared Kimber and James Sherwood, who created many of your jingles, and also got to know Dan and the Bear. So, hello. It's great to be back.
Well, a very warm welcome back. So, just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and your work in the promotion of health and well-being, and then we'll come on to really talk about the T4-2 initiative.
Sure. Well, the thing that really drives me is not sickness. My interest is in health. I always think the National Health Service is poorly named. It's really the National Sickness Service. So I'm more interested in keeping people well. And in particular, I look at good diet, physical activity, and no smoking. So it's the upstream things. And I've had a lifelong interest in cricket. And when I heard that Sussex Cricket Foundation were looking for a trustee with an interest in health a few years ago, I was very keen to apply. And obviously initially, particularly on the physical activity side, if you like, and also I think on the mental health side, which is incredibly important for people who play cricket. It helps overcome social isolation and so on. So being a trustee of the foundation really plays to several aspects of my interest.
Fantastic. Well, let's move on and chat a little bit then about T4-2. And start perhaps by just painting us a little picture of why T4-2 is needed, and then we'll talk about what it does.
Sure. Well, food insecurity, people going hungry, is a much bigger problem in this country than I think many people realise. About 6.6 million people in this country are, as we would say, food insecure. And of those, over 1.5 million children, that's about 1 in 10 children, have severe food insecurity. So they're skipping meals, or they're really hungry. They're not just being kids being a bit peckish, they're properly hungry. So that's 1 in 10. And if we're talking about the current situation, things, of course, have got worse under COVID. This is no surprise. Food bank use has been rising steadily since the start of the crisis. Some stats came out a couple of days ago that suggest that in the last month, food bank use has risen by another 10%. It's been going up and up and up. And this is also a problem in Sussex. Obviously, I have a particular interest there. And the Sussex Cricket Foundation has been trying to think about things that we can do in the community using our fantastic network of 182 clubs all around the county. What can we do? And this food issue seemed to us to be a particularly important one. Just to give you one local example from Brighton and Hove. In advance of the COVID crisis, food banks across the city were handing out something like 420 food parcels a week to individuals or families. So that would include fruit and veg, maybe some tinned protein, pasta and rice, tea, milk, loo roll, ubiquitous loo roll, all these things that are really things that we absolutely need. 420 a week pre-COVID. That peaked at 3,000 a week.
Wow.
It's now come down a bit. It's more like 2,000, but it is still worth bearing in mind. This is actually the tip of the iceberg. Many people who need help won't have accessed it. Soup kitchens and lunch clubs, many of them closed because of social distancing measures. And also, often people who are in the most need are at the most risk. So anything up to 1 in 3 people living with a disability in Brighton and Hove have said, this is last year pre-COVID, that they wouldn't be able to afford basic living costs like food and fuel in 2020, and I'm quite sure that has not improved. So that's the backdrop against which we're working.
Well, the number of statistics there, but the 1 in 10 children in the UK are food challenged is an enormously scary stat.
It's frightening, and it's shocking, and it's particularly bad often in the summer holidays. And again, during COVID, when you're not under lockdown, not in school, not getting that crucial free school meal.
So T for 2, I mean, tea is definitely clearly something associated with cricket, whether professional or recreational. It's TEA number 4 and then 2 TWO, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about what it is and what it does and what you do.
This is a way that we come up with, a working group of us from the foundation, to think about what we can do using our network of clubs. We have an incredibly committed network of clubs. We've been talking to them through webinars over the last few months about getting back to playing. But we were really thinking, what more can we do? How can we, for lack of a better word, leverage this to do good in our community? Cricket is so often at the heart of the community. So what we came up with was T2, which is basically put a box out in your clubhouse. We'll send you a poster, put a poster on it that says food bank collection point, and make a link with your local food bank, wherever that is. You may have someone in your club who has links with one already, that's great. Or we sent round a list of about 40 food banks all around the county, so you can find out which one is closest to you. Contact them, find out what they want, let them know you're doing this, and then encourage your players, your spectators, your groundsmen, anyone who's coming, to bring food, preferably off a list that we've suggested. But in particular, we're not doing teas as such at the moment. People are bringing in their own. So when you go to buy your tea in the supermarket, buy something else as well. Bring in a can, bring in a packet of tea, bring in something that you think will be useful. And then we would hope that someone from the club would regularly deliver the box to your local food bank.
So actually there is more than one aspect to it. One is about mobilising cricket clubs in Sussex to accept food, promote T2, and become effectively distribution points.
Yes.
If I was the chairman or club captain or a player at one of those clubs, what should be the first thing I'd need to do to get myself involved?
The first thing to do, although hopefully somebody in your club should have got an email about this, but if they haven't, or if they haven't passed it on to you, information about this is available on the Sussex Cricket Foundation website. It's www.sussexcricket.co.uk/community-initiatives. I'll tweet about this later to make sure you've got it, so I'm happy to put that out. And that gives you the information. That gives you a description of what we're doing. It sends you to a link of food banks. It's got a PDF poster, and it's got that list of possible foodstuffs, suggested foodstuffs that all food banks will want wherever they are.
Yeah, I was just, I did have that. I wonder if it's disappeared on me. I mean, it's obvious things like tinned tomatoes, cooking sauces, tinned meat, baked beans, pasta, rice, instant noodles, all of those useful kind of things.
And toiletries too.
And toiletries. So that's one part. It's about getting your club mobilised to become a distribution and collection point, and a number of ways that you can help. So if you're a cricketer in Sussex, a recreational cricketer, doesn't matter if your club's got the email, it doesn't matter if your chairman's heard of it, make sure he has. If you're listening to us and you've heard this, talk to your club, and that's immediately, most definitely, a way that you can help. The other aspect, I suppose, is the actual, Katie, is the bringing of the food. And you said something there which struck me. Did you say there was something like 182 clubs
There are.
playing recreational cricket in Sussex?
There are. We've got, I think, the biggest league in the country. And today, weather permitting, I'm looking out of the window, I don't know about this, but there should be at least 150 games going on. There's been a real bonanza of cricket since the lockdown ended. Loads of games going on. At those 150, I mean, doing the maths, I mean, we could have literally thousands of items coming in every Saturday, every time that there are a number of games. That would be fantastic.
Well, I think perfect. I mean, the beauty of this idea is a comparatively small effort. A very small effort, in fact, can make a massively huge difference. The reason I was interested in 182, because I did a quick bit of maths for it. If it was 182 clubs, each of whom have, say, 12 representatives at a game, that's 24 times 182. That's about over 4,000 items of food. If every player turned up to their club with one item of food for the food bank, that's over 4,000. That's about 4,300 items of food, which
and that's just players.
Extraordinary.
That's just players, and we know that audiences are up as well as the people are turning out. 50 plus people at games at the moment. It's really popular. So this is potentially huge.
Okay, well that's as you rightly say, that's absolutely enormous. Tell us a little bit about how other ways you are getting the word out there at the moment to mobilise the cricket playing community of Sussex.
Sure. The main way we're getting the word out is through the communications with the clubs, and also club webinars, which we've been having every few weeks to keep people up to date in what's happening, particularly around what the ECB is saying around coming back to cricket. And we're also highlighting these community initiatives that we're also running. We're hoping to run a webinar in September specifically on these community initiatives, for example. This isn't the only one we've got. It's the only one that uses this kind of model, but we've actually got a second food insecurity project as well that was funded by Together Through This Test, which you may have heard of, some of your listeners may have heard of, which I can talk a bit more about if you're interested in that too.
Well, yes, but let's just pause for a second and just make sure that people know if they're interested and they want to get involved with T42. What are the first things that they should do? Where do they go for information? So let's start with the website and the contact details of who they should talk to.
The website www.sussexcricket.co.uk/community-initiatives, or you can get in touch with me directly, either at DECSOP1 on Twitter. I'll tweet after this. That's DECSOP1, or on my Sussex Cricket email address, which is Katy, that's Katy, .cooper@sussexcricket.co.uk. You're very welcome to drop me a line. Also, if you're not a Sussex person, do drop me a line. We'd love it if other counties did this too. Obviously, the ECB also came up with tea being a good link to food banks. They did the tea-a-thon a few weeks ago. Ours, we hope, will be a much longer standing partnership. We'd really hope that once you're in touch with a local food bank, you can stay in touch. This problem is not going away. In fact, quite the contrary. I'm certainly concerned that once people come off furlough, there'll be further redundancies. Who knows what's going to happen with the political situation in the new year? Food prices are not going to be going down, and unemployment is likely to be going up. This is going to be more of a problem. So we'd love it if T42 became a real partnership between each local club and their local food bank, and that continues indefinitely.
Well, you preempted me by, I was going to ask, is there an aspiration to take it to sort of nationwide? And you've kind of answered that, and you're prepared to help anyone who wants advice on how to do it, because you've already got it kind of rolling in Sussex, which is fantastic news. It has the advantage of building on an infrastructure that already exists in terms of cricket clubs and food banks.
Yes, exactly.
And sort of taps into the association with cricket and tea, so it has a lot of things going for it, and obviously hope it's a fantastic success. We will, just before we close, remind people of the ways they can get in touch. Tell us, you alluded to a little bit, there are other things that you're busy with in your capacity as a health and well-being consultant and promoter, as well as your role in the Sussex Cricket Foundation. So tell us a little bit more about the other initiative that you mentioned briefly.
Yes, that's called In the Bag. This is a different model. Rather than using our clubs, this is we fundraise for this one through this test, which was actually an all counties auction of interesting items that was organised by Nottingham. Sussex also had the idea, and Sussex, I'm delighted to say, raised half of the total for the entire country. So as a county, we raised about £10,000. The idea is that £10,000 will be split amongst a small number of charities, largely chosen by the Sussex cricket family, if you like. And the first one, we decided that, again, we'd look at food insecurity. And this time we'd look specifically at the issue of holiday hunger, which I mentioned earlier, and which many people will probably have heard about. I think it's the thing that almost irritates me most, the fact that you get to the summer holidays and children start going hungry because they aren't getting school food. So what we wanted to do was partner with a local charity, and we talked to the Brighton and Hove Food Partnership. Obviously they're based in Brighton and Hove. Our first central county ground is in Hove. This is our home. This is Sussex Cricket Foundation home. So we wanted to do something locally. And what we've come up with is In the Bag, which is 200 recipe bags every week for 6 weeks. So it's got a recipe, it's got everything you need to make that. So fruit and vegetables, the meat, everything you need. And with things like potentially an activity card in there as well. And these go out through local partners, so to school-aged children through an organisation called CHOMP. And then there are 4 other local organisations that deal with families with children of under school age. So there are 5 organisations handing out these recipe bags weekly for 6 weeks during the summer holidays.
Well, that's fantastic. A couple of more things then, just before we move on. One was, you mentioned that Sussex had accounted for more than half the national volume.
I believe that's right. Yeah.
So I know you're a musician, but without blowing your own trumpet, why? What's Sussex doing so right? Tell me, how is Sussex so mobilised to move at such speed and with such commitment that is not happening elsewhere, do you think?
That's a very good question. I think a lot of it is to do with the relationship between the Foundation and Sussex Cricket Limited, which is a very close one. We've been talking to across the board around In the Bag and Tp2 together through this test. Again, people come up with good ideas and things happen. And I think that's the key to this, isn't it? It's working together and making sure that we're all on the same page. And then getting that money back from together through this test, making sure that what we do really does help the community and really is things that the Sussex Cricket family are interested in. We do see at the Foundation, we see cricket as being a force for social good. Obviously, our main concern is always getting people playing, making sure that everyone's got the support they need to open it, to get their ground set, and all that kind of thing. But this sort of added extra, and with my health hat on, I'm obviously particularly interested in this. I'm very interested in our projects like Walking Cricket, our social memory, our Sporting Memories programme, all these things that use cricket to do so much more than as it were just playing.
Fantastic. Well, just a quick reminder of a couple of things that we've covered here, Katie, for people listening. 1 in 10 children in the UK are food challenged, potentially hungry. That is a shockingly frightening statistic. It's made worse during the summer, and it's worse clearly as a result of the current crisis. If you are in Sussex, then there are a number of ways you can find out about T42, but essentially the things that you're being asked to do. If you're a club, we're looking for you to be partner with your local food bank as a collection and distribution point. You can, on the website, which we'll read the URL of again, you can download, print and install a poster to say that that's what you are. You can urge your players and members to donate and drop off food. So it's not just the players, although we quickly calculated that, over 4,000 every week pieces of food could make such a massive difference just by doing a little bit of what we already do and bringing something with your tea. So we need you to mobilize your members, and we need you to nominate a volunteer to collect donated food delivered to the food bank. All things which are extremely manageable. If you want to know more about doing that, and don't just assume someone else will, just
absolutely
do it anyway.
Just do it.
Ways that you can move ahead with that. You can go to sussexcricket.co.uk/community-initiatives. Don't worry if we said that all a bit too fast. It is going to be tweeted out. You will see the details of it on our Twitter feed and Katie's specific Twitter feed, which is at DEC SOP1 at DEXOP1. That will also tweet that out.
Yes.
So it's a phenomenal cause. There are fantastic ways that you can help. Katie, thank you so much for being our guest today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it.
We wish you every success with the initiative, and we will be following it most closely.